Hello everyone, welcome back to Hood's Computer Science project. In this video we are going to see how we can transform the landmark data into Unity using OpenCV Python. If you didn't watch the last video about how we can broadcast the landmark data from Python, then have a look at this corner so you can see what we are talking about. So if you haven't seen the project demonstration right here, I will also invite you to check this corner all down the description, because you will see what is the project about and how interesting it is. Please have a look. So let's jump to the computer and let's get started. So here we are. First you have to download Unity Hub, which is very easy to download, and I will also leave a link to the description how you can download it, and it's available for Mac, Windows and even Linux. So first thing you will need to do is to go to the Installs tab and click on Install Editor, so you can choose any of these. But as I already have one here, I'm not going to do this again, so let's go back to the projects and let's create a new one. So make sure that you are in the 3D modes and let's give it a name. So we can call it hand tracking, for example. And we create a project. Okay, it can take a while creating a project.
5 minutes later.
So here we are, we finally loaded the scene. So first thing we'll do is to create an empty object, and we'll call it manager. So an empty object is just this point right here, and it is not even visible into the game render. But it is very useful for handling codes that could manage the game, and in our case we'll use the UDP data receiver. So we'll add a Python, not a Python obviously, a C# script. So we'll call it manager, new script, yeah, create an add. And if you go to the projects, well, it's getting slow again. Okay, so in the assets folder, I will see about we will see about the project structure later. You will have a script, and we will be using PyCharm for opening the project. So let's open a new. Going to Unity project, hand tracking, and we'll choose the project, new window. Okay, so this is the Unity project. It can save you. Okay, let's close this. It can actually write you several things like user settings, project settings, and etc. But we are interested into the assets where we have the scene, and we also have some scripts. So in this case, we have the manager.cs, and I actually have a code for the. Okay, so I've actually copied this codes from what I had before. So obviously we will be using Unity Engine, that's the C# packages for running into Unity. Then we'll use in system, and all of this below, text, net, net.sockets, and threading. So all of these are responsible for the data transfer. And another little point, the class name must be exactly the name as the file, and it is case sensitive, so I can't just put a lowercase m. Okay, so that's just for those who are unfamiliar with C# and Java. It is the same thing. We want this to be a mono behavior, then we can initialize the rest. So thread receive threads, UDP clients, then we have the public int port 5052. And about the public variables, I will see how it is interesting about having a public. Then we have start receiving equals to true, then we have public pool print to console, and for this demo I will also set to true, but I will put false later because we don't need to print every time. Then we have the public string data. Now let's get started. Receive threads equals to new threads, which has a new thread start receive data. So receive data is this function here we are jumping right now. Receive thread is background equals to true, then we'll start to receive threads. So now let's jump into the receive data function. So we initiate the client that we have initiated above. We'll start UDP clients port, so the port that we have initiated also. Then while start receiving, so while true, we'll try to do this, and we catch if there is an error. So that is just in case if there is an error during the data transfer, which might not happen every time, just maybe just a few times. But the main point is that it doesn't stop the code, it just prints out the error, but it will continue if it works afterwards. Then next we have, so this is the IP endpoint, which is called any IP, which is the new IP, which is any IP address, because we don't really care about the IP address. We just want from any IP address to get data from the port number, and it is not a very used port number, so you can just put that any way. And obviously, if you want to add the special localhost, I think it's 127.0.1. So if you want to use that, yeah, you can use that as well. That's how we are using the localhost anyway. Next, we have the byte array, which is data bytes client.receive from the IP address, and the client is already connected to the port number, as you can see above. Then we convert the data, because as we have the data byte, we convert it into a string encoder, if you prefer. Then if printed into the console, so we have just set it to true, then we print the data just for debugging purposes. So now let's try to run. Let's have the Unity. Okay. Okay, so I will run Unity, but obviously I will go to the Python code because we need to run that code. Because we obviously need to run that code. Okay, so the webcam is starting. Okay, what just happened? Yeah, it just went below, so we can see my hand. All right, that's cool. Okay, it doesn't print anything. That's strange. Manager. Okay, what is going on again? Okay, maybe I should close Unity, then open the project again. Ah, okay, now it works. Okay, so you can see that all of these lines are. Oh, I don't want to open this. Thank you. Okay, so you can see that there is a list of all the data. So if you have followed the last video, which I will recommend if you haven't, then you can see that the data is well displayed into Unity. So we will use those data in Unity to process them and to track the hands. And that will be the end of this video. So the next video will be obviously how to build 3D object that will represent the landmarks of the hands. And also, please like this video if you enjoy it, please subscribe if you haven't already, and share this video, and see you next time.